In Chapter 40 of Yoga Vasistha, we will discuss topics such as the encounter with the Brahmakara vritti, the self-destruction of knowledge / Katarika Churna Nyaya, the principle of superimposition and exception, the non-duality of water and waves, and the prohibition against preaching to the unauthorized. Welcome, my disciple. I am Vashishtha, and today we are embarking on a truly profound transmission of truth.
Here's the path we'll be walking together today. First, the Brahmakara vritti encounter. Then the self-destruction of ignorance, followed by superimposition and exception. After that, we'll look at the non-duality of water and waves, the prohibition of preaching to the unauthorized, and finally, we'll wrap it all up with a summary of Chapter 40. Let's dive right in.
Section 1. The Brahmakara vritti encounter. Alright, so in verses 5 and 6, we encounter this incredible concept called the Brahmakara vritti. Let's break that down, because it is absolutely crucial. Vritti basically means the modifications, or think of them as the whirlpools of your mind. And Brahmakara means taking the actual form of Brahman, that ultimate infinite reality. This directly answers a profound question I posed about how a finite human mind, which is totally bound by form, can actually capture something completely formless. So for your everyday meditation, the practical takeaway here isn't to force your mind to be completely empty. Instead, allow your mind to mold itself to the concept of the limitless.
Listen closely to this, my disciple. The secret of capturing the infinite lies in the mind transforming into the infinite itself. You know, intellectually grasping Brahman like you would a physical object? Yeah, that just doesn't work. The mind actually has to undergo a radical mutation. This encounter with the Brahmakara vritti fundamentally alters how you perceive reality, because suddenly, the observer, the observed, and the observation, they all fuse into one continuous, unbroken field of awareness.
Moving on to Section 2. Self-destruction of ignorance.
Now we come to a foundational principle in verses 8 and 9, Kataka Shwarna Nyaya. Kataka Shwarna is the powder of the clearing nut, and Nyaya means a rule or an analogy. Imagine this. In ancient times, if you had a pot of muddy, totally undrinkable water, you'd sprinkle this specific nut powder right into it. The powder binds to all the dirt and impurities. But here's the magic. Once it binds to the mud, it actually sinks to the very bottom along with it, leaving absolutely crystal clear water behind. The philosophical implication of this natural little phenomenon is literally going to change how you view your entire spiritual journey.
This perfectly illustrates the exact function of spiritual knowledge, or vidya. Just like that clearing nut powder purifies the mud and then settles out of sight, spiritual knowledge destroys our original ignorance, avidya, and then, beautifully, it destroys itself. The knowledge you're acquiring right now, the scriptures, the philosophies, they're super necessary to bind to the mud of your worldly ignorance. But once that ignorance is gone, you can't cling to the spiritual knowledge, or it just morphs into another form of ego. True liberation happens when even the pride of being enlightened dissolves completely, leaving nothing but pure, undisturbed consciousness. Let go of that spiritual ego.
Section 3. Superimposition and exception. In verse 43, we're introduced to adhyarupa, which means superimposition. Literally, it's projecting an unreal, separate reality onto the absolute truth. Think of your mind like a movie projector. The world you see every day, with all its divisions and conflicts and distinct objects, it's not the ultimate reality. It's just a film being projected onto the blank, pure screen of Brahman. It's like walking in the dark and mistaking a piece of rope for a snake out of fear. The snake is totally unreal, but I guarantee your fear feels very real. Until, of course, you bring in a light.
And that light we bring in, that's apavada, or exception. This is the deliberate withdrawal of that illusion to reveal the underlying unchanged reality. Verse 43 teaches us that the absolute reality was never actually altered by our projections. I mean, the rope never actually became a snake, right? This mirrors Brahma's play within Brahma, where the Creator playfully manifests universes without ever losing his true essence. So, next time you're feeling overwhelmed by daily anxieties, just pause. Recognize the anxiety as a superimposition. Then, apply exception. Dismantle that illusion by reminding yourself of the quiet, unchanging truth beneath the panic.
Which brings us to Section 4. Non-duality, water and waves.
What remains when we strip away the illusion is rasa vaisa. This beautiful Sanskrit phrase literally translates to, he is the sweet essence. Philosophically, it means that the infinite Brahman is the underlying flavor, the permeating essence of all existence. Just like you cannot separate the sweetness from honey, divine consciousness simply cannot be separated from the universe. It is the very fabric of absolutely everything you see, touch, and experience.
The core of this is captured perfectly in verse 44. Consider the nature of water. Waves are temporary, right? They're constantly crashing, rising, and changing forms. But the water itself? That's the eternal, underlying essence. Philosophically, a wave is nothing but water in motion. It has no independent existence whatsoever. In the exact same way, the entire universe, including your own physical body and mind, is nothing but Brahman. Practically speaking, you've got to learn to see past these temporary forms. When you interact with a difficult person or even face a fleeting moment of joy, remember, you are simply a wave speaking to another wave, but both of you are the exact same ocean.
Section 5. Preaching to the unauthorized. So in verse 59, we're given a very strict prohibition against preaching to the unauthorized. We really have to contrast the qualities of a worthy student with an unworthy one here. A worthy student has a ready mind, they genuinely seek the truth, and they operate with real discipline. An unworthy student, on the other hand, is ego-driven, unready, and usually just seeking distraction or an intellectual debate to inflate their own pride. Look, as you grow in wisdom, you're going to feel this intense urge to share it with everyone. But this ancient boundary setting is highly practical advice for today. Protect your spiritual energy. Do not cast your pearls of wisdom before a mind that's only prepared to trample them. And there's a crucial reason for this prohibition. Teaching profound truths to unready minds brings distortion, not liberation. If you force the concept that everything is an illusion onto someone deeply entrenched in their ego, they aren't going to become enlightened. No way. They'll just become nihilistic, irresponsible, or dangerously detached. Forcing knowledge where it isn't welcome is a massive philosophical and practical danger. Let the student ask the question before you provide the absolute answer.
Let's move to Section 6, the Chapter 40 summary.
My disciple, let's quickly summarize the profound progression of Chapter 40 that we've explored today. Step 1. Embrace the Brahmakara vritti. Allow your finite mind to actually take the shape of the infinite. Step 2. Let spiritual knowledge destroy your ignorance, but remember the katakacha churna. Let that knowledge dissolve too, leaving zero spiritual ego behind. Step 3. Use the principle of exception to dissolve the superimpositions, those false realities you constantly project onto the world. And Step 4. Always remember the non-duality of reality. Look for the water in the waves. Find the eternal essence hiding right there in the temporary forms.
I'll leave you with this final provocative thought to take into your meditation today. If the wave realizes it is only water, where does the ocean end and where do you begin? Take a moment to really contemplate the absolute illusion of duality in your own existence. Until our next transmission, keep your mind clear and always seek the essence.